Today we're gonna be doing a tier list. Let's put some criteria down first, right? Because whenever we do a tier list, we need to think, okay, what are we actually ranking here? Now, when I say design, what do I mean? There's actually a few things. Number one, and this is the most important one, is how well do they fit into Minecraft as a game? Do they feel like they belong in Minecraft, right? That's the first one. The second one is also very important, and it's like, what functions do they bring to the game that wasn't already a thing? If there's something that feels like it doesn't do enough, or it doesn't do anything, or it does something that already exists that's bad, you want something different, or you have an alternative for it. Functionality as well, like, do they actually function the way you want them to function, right? Because there are definitely mobs where like they have a cool idea, it's all good, but then maybe it doesn't work as well as it probably should. I mean, something about, I guess, what they look like maybe, but that's not as important. It's more about how it fits into Minecraft, so maybe not that, because some of these mobs are pretty darn old, so I don't know if we should like take looks into account per se. Let's begin. First we have Axolotl. I would say the idea is fun. I like the breeding aspect of getting the rare one. I think that's good. I don't think it's necessary for the game, but a lot of the passive mobs aren't really necessary. They're more just filler mobs to make the biomes more interesting. I would say Axolotl is one of the better ones of those. Fighting alongside an Axolotl can be a bit awkward, but it's not as bad as some of the others we'll get to later. I'm gonna put Axolotl in good. It's not the best design in the world, but it's better than passable because of the whole breeding aspect, getting the rare Axolotl, all that. It's fine the way it is. You don't need to improve it, and it's a cute mob. Like, it's nice. Then we have Bats. Bats technically don't do anything, but bats are also the kind of mob where it's kind of okay, because they're more there to give you like the vibe of a cave, right? I think I'll put them in passable, because I don't think they're as good as axolotls, because axolotls have a function, right? It's not the best function in the world, but they have a function. Bats don't really do much other than create like ambience. I feel like you could do a lot more with the bat, like make them drop something. I feel like there's some design space here that could be worked with, but I like that they exist. I don't think they should be removed just because they don't do anything. Then we have bees. I actually think bees are a very good addition to the game. I think the farms they create are fine. I like that we have like two different blocks with them. We've got the honey blocks and the honeycomb blocks, and the beehives are cool. I think it's a cool system with the pollination. I think the way they made this work, where like when you grow trees, you can have a chance to get them. Flower forests have more of them, which makes sense. I think bees are overall very, very good. Actually, I can't really think of a negative about them. Do I put them in perfect then? I'm considering bumping them up to perfect. I just feel like they're not interesting enough to be in the perfect category, I guess. Yeah, I'll have them in very good for now, but we could potentially move the bees up to perfect. Then we have Blaze. Now, the Blazes are pretty cool, actually. Well, not really. They're hot, but yeah. Puns aside, I think Blazes are good. They're pretty old at this point. Like, it's an older mob, but overall, it does what it has to do. I like the whole, blaze rod mechanics with potions. Getting to the end, all that is pretty good. I'll put it in very good because I think that the amount of mechanics the blaze brings with it is very good. You can make blaze farms, and also the blaze rods are very, very useful. I think it's better than the axolotl. Is it better than bees? Probably not, because bees also have the cute factor to them. Yeah, I think blazes go below bees. Then we have cats. Cats can be used to like ward off creepers, which is cool, but I don't know. They don't really do a whole lot other than that. I guess I'll put them in passable because they do something, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like cats in Minecraft. I think they're more awkward than they do good. Then we have Cave Spider. I mean, they're an interesting mob to find in the mineshaft, I suppose. I feel like it would be cool if they dropped something that had to do with poison that wasn't just spider eyes, which a normal spider already drops. But I'll put it in good because I feel like there's not much you can do better with it. Chickens are also just good. I think most of the like passive mobs that just kind of give food and another resource goes here. The only thing with chickens is that I feel like feathers are like kind of useless, right? Maybe that should go down into passable just because I feel like feathers are like sort of useless. Like, what are feathers even used for? Like, arrows? I don't know. Once you have infinity, you don't really need them. But I mean, passable because some people use mending bows. Cod, they kind of go next to the bat, right? I feel like we should make like a category for like, these are just kind of ambient mobs. I guess, here's what we'll do. We'll put the bat like this because at least you can eat the cod and the chicken's better, right? So we'll do it like this. So cod goes here because it's cool that we have some fish that just kind of swim around and do nothing, I guess. Then we have cow, which I would put in good because leather is a bit more useful than the feathers, because leathers have the whole like bookshelf thing going on for them, even though at this point you probably buy bookshelves from villagers most of the time, but it has its thing. The meat is also better than chicken, so yeah, let's just put it in good. You could argue passable, but I'll say good because leather is slightly more useful than the feathers. Then we have dolphins. Now, dolphins are not my favorite. Like, I think I'll put it in passable because of the whole, like, ship loot mechanic. I think bats are, like, better and they do absolutely nothing. I think dolphins can be awkward to use. They feel like they do nothing. Like, who actually hunts treasures with a dolphin? Anyway, I'll put it in passable just because I don't think you need to work on the dolphin. It's just like kind of a nothing thing, I feel like. Let's see, donkeys. I like them less than most. You can carry stuff with them, but you don't really do that once you have elytra and all that. I mean, I guess the whole like breeding mules, maybe they just go into passable along with horses, because I don't know. There's not much to them. You don't even get meat from them. I guess it's cool that you can ride them. The whole breeding aspect of them, of getting like the optimal donkey, the optimal mule, and the optimal horse is pretty cool. Maybe that puts them into good. Yeah, honestly, let's just put it into good. Oh god, the phantom. Alright. Bad. No, I hate phantoms. There's multiple reasons, but the main one is they don't function for anything. Listen, if you have elytra, you have mending and unbreaking at that point. Like, you're at the end game. Why are you hunting phantoms to fix your elytra? The answer is you shouldn't be. Go to your XP farm like everybody else. Phantoms are bad. I don't like them. They have no function in the game other than being annoying sky rats. Ravagers are cool, I guess. The only thing I would change about them is I would love if you could tame them and ride them yourself. That would be pretty cool. But there's nothing really wrong with them, I don't think. But they're not interesting enough to go into very good or perfect. Then we have the Ravager with a Pillager on top. We'll just put it next to it. We'll put it above because it's slightly cooler, I suppose. It's mob is riding it. Again, they're just kind of part of raids and yeah, cool. Shulkers are very good. I actually think shulkers are very well designed. I think they go into perfect. I mean, now that shulker farms exist, they're not as, I guess, rare anymore. But shulker boxes are great. I think shulker boxes are an awesome addition to the game. And the way you get them by like going to the end islands, exploring, all that, it's good. I like it. I think it's really cool, actually. Silverfish, I'll put it in needs work. And the reason is I feel like you could have done more with them. Don't get me wrong, these spawned in 2 places in the world. Extreme Hills biomes and the end portal room spawner thing. Does a mob like this deserve being so, rare, right? Like, this is a rare mob, but why is it rare exactly? You don't get anything from killing it except for some experience. I don't think it does enough for how rare of a mob it technically is. Obviously, once you find the spawner, you can, like, have plenty of them, but why would you? There's no reason. I feel like you could do something with silverfish, right? Like, it has silver in the name. Why not something silvery that you can then craft into silver? I don't know. It's not like the bat where it's just there for the vibes either. Like, bats are there to give you the whole, like, vibe of a cave. I don't feel like silverfish even do that. They don't accomplish that. They just accomplish being annoying, which is better than the phantom, because at least it's, like, rare at the same time, where the phantom is just straight up a bad, useless mob. This is useless as well, but I feel like they could improve this to a point where it's fine. You can't improve the phantom. The phantom is doomed. I don't want the phantom improved, I just want it gone. The silverfish you can improve on. I think vindicators are okay. I'll put them the highest in good because they appear in Woodland Mansions. They're like kind of a basic enemy, but cool, I guess. Like, kind of basic but cool. It's cool to have an axe wielder in the game. There is another one that has an axe as well, but not in the overworld, so sure, whatever, that's fine. Then we have Vexes. Oh boy, I hate these. Now, Vexes are not as horrible as Phantoms. Technically, they're pretty unique because they can like phase through blocks and stuff. And for that, I think I have to give them at least a passable. They are, however, very annoying to fight because of it. So I'm gonna put it on the top of passable, because I don't think you can improve the Vex per se. However, I think that the annoyance factor puts it lower for me. Like, in theory, the whole, like, you know, phasing through blocks, it sounds really cool, right? But then you actually go up against it and you're like, is this really good for this game? I don't know. I don't mind it as much as the Silverfish or the Phantom, mostly because you know where they're gonna be. They're gonna be in Woodland Mansions and raids, which raids you can start yourself. Woodland Mansions you go and search for. You don't just find a Woodland Mansion, for the most part, right? So I would say passable on the Vex, just because you have to actually look for a Vex to find it, or to get it summoned, I should say. Stray I actually think is very good. The thing is, the skeleton is a very old mob, right? I think strays are a great way to, I guess, make the skeleton more interesting, I suppose, because the basic skeleton is not all that interesting, right? But like the slowness arrows, the whole thing, I don't mind it. I think it's very good. Actually, no. I think the Ravagers are better because it is just recolored skeletons, right? Or recolored, but like it is just another type of skeleton. I don't think it's a bad mob, but I think it goes into good just because it is technically just another version of a skeleton, right? Then we have a Spider Jockey, and I actually really like Spider Jockeys. They go above bees for me. The reason is really simple. They took something they already had and they made something amazing out of it. I think the Spider Jockey is one of the coolest things. That's just a very basic pairing of mobs, but I really like it. The only reason I don't put this into perfect is because when the spider climbs a wall, it can suffocate the skeleton on the ceiling. And I feel like that should be fixed. I feel like the spider should be smart enough to like know that there's a skeleton on it. That's how they would make it into perfect for me. Next we have Slime. I mean, Slime is good, I would say. I'll put it like here-ish. I'm not the biggest fan of fighting slimes, but they're not horrible either, and I like the way that they like multiply. I'm not gonna give them any higher though, because it's kind of like not super creative. I do like the whole like slime balls, and you know, you can make like slime blocks, sticky pistons, all that. The redstone aspect of slimes are probably very amazing. I don't do a lot of redstone, so I can't really say much about that. Then we have Charged Creeper. I like those. I like these a lot. This is, again, it's like the Spider Jockey where they took something they had and made it better. Because, again, a creeper is kind of basic, right? Like, you have, like, your average creeper. It doesn't do a whole lot. Now you have a charged creeper, which is even better. Like, this is really good. This is a way of using things you already had. Yeah, I like this. This is also why I consider putting Stray up, because they took something they had and made it better. But the Stray is kind of more basic than this, I feel like. You could say the Spider Jockey is basic. This is probably just my bias coming out a little bit. I just really like the idea of having the mobility of a spider with the aim of a skeleton. I think that's really good. And the Charged Creeper I just think is cool because it has such a huge explosion. It's an explosion, it's cool, I don't know. Then we have the Wither. Alright, I'm gonna put my way too many Wither fights aside and say that it's actually pretty good design. I like it. I think it's a cool boss. I wonder if we should put the bosses separately, but I don't think so. We can just like talk about them. I think the Wither is cool. There's not much to say about him. He's way harder on Bedrock, I know, but we're rating these off of the Java version of the Wither, so because I haven't actually seen the Bedrock one. I haven't tried fighting it. I would say the Wither is good because it's an interesting fight. I like the fact that you can start out with your bow, but then you have to swap to your sword at some point, or well, a melee weapon, but it would normally be a sword or an axe, I suppose. I like the idea. I like that Smite works on the Wither. If you didn't know, use Smite against the Wither. It works way better than Sharpness. But anyway, I like the way that you have to like grind for it, like that you summon him yourself. The Ender Dragon goes into good, and the reason is that I feel like the Ender Dragon fight is a little bit too basic and outdated. I think we need an update for the Ender Dragon again. I know they did update the Ender Dragon fight in like 1.9, I think it was, in the combat update, but it still feels really basic. It doesn't really feel like a boss fight at all. Like, what does it do? You just kill the crystals and then kill the dragon. I'm actually gonna put it down here because I think this needs some serious work, actually. It's better than the silverfish because it's the Ender Dragon, and by nature it's just a cooler thing to fight. But I feel like the Ender Dragon needs work. Like, make it more interesting to fight it. It's a boss monster. Like, come on. It's supposed to be cool. A dragon is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's cool to fight a dragon, but make it more interesting. It's not interesting enough to fight it. Alright, moving on. Frogs. I like frogs a lot, actually. I think they're a great addition. I like frog lights as well. Think it's a cool building block, I suppose. Lighting block. It's nice. More lighting options in the game. I'll put it like above the bee, I suppose. I don't have much to complain about. I like the idea of the different colored frogs. It doesn't go into perfect because I don't think frog lights are as useful as shulker boxes ever will be. Like, shulker boxes are shulker boxes and you can't really compete with it in usefulness. But I think it's one of the best passive mobs in the game. Just because of what you can farm with it. Like, the frog lights are cool. I think it's great. I like that there's like 3 different colors. You have to farm them to get the different colored frog lights. It's great. I like frogs. The Warden. Now we're talking. This is a boss monster. This is how you design a boss, y'all. I really like the Warden. I think the mechanics of it is so cool. The Deep Dark is so awesome. I really like this. This might also be because it's a fairly recent mob in the game. Like, it might be because I haven't like seen as much of it as some of these other ones, but I just really like it. I think it's so cool. I don't think it's better designed than shulker boxes or like shulkers, just because I feel like the whole idea of like shulker shells, shulker boxes, all that endgame stuff is really good, and I think it's one of the best decisions ever made. I do think that we need an inventory update, but shulker boxes are a good way of at least trying to deal with the inventory issue. I don't think anything can beat shulkers for now, but the Warden is close because the Warden is just so heckin' cool. This is how you design a boss monster, and like, I know you kind of have to cheese it by like shooting it with arrows, but still. LA. Oh god, no. I'm gonna look like a horrible person. I don't like the LA. It's better than the Phantom, but that doesn't say much. LAs are clunky. You have to travel far to find them, for no payoff at all, really. There's so much wasted potential. They might be fixable, but honestly, I don't really like them at all. Then we have the regular skeleton. Skeletons are kind of outdated. Like, let's be honest. But out of all the fairly outdated mobs, I think it's the best one. I would say it... should we just put it next to the Stray? Not really. It probably goes here-ish. I mean, it's not as good as slimes or cave spiders, I don't think, which is why I'm gonna put it here. I think cow just barely edges out, just because I feel like I like the cow more than the skeleton. Now, obviously, the skeleton's out to kill me, the cow isn't, but I just feel like the skeleton feels outdated, and it kind of has the same problem as the chicken, that it drops arrows where it's like, well, half of the population don't really use arrows. They use the infinity bows, right? It's sad because it's not like the skeleton's a bad design, it's just that I'm kind of sick of seeing it, I guess. It sucks because you don't want to like be too harsh on the oldest mobs in the game, but at the same time, this is one of the best ones, you know? Maybe Creeper is better than this. Then we have tadpoles. They just kind of go next to frogs. Like, there's not really much to say about it. You kind of need them to exist because frogs exist, and they're cute. They're fine, you know? You don't need to do anything with these. Skeleton horse trap is good. I really, really like it. Actually, I don't know if it goes into perfect. I'll put it here next to the spider jockey. I think it's actually... no, here. I think it's worse than the charge creeper and spider jockey. The reason this is worse than these two is because they introduce a skeleton horse, but there's nothing cool about them. You can ride them like every other horse, but that's about it. They don't even have like different speeds from what I know. I'm actually not sure about that. But they're not cool enough. That's the problem. Like, you can find horses that are faster than them. So why would you have a skeleton horse other than for it to look cool? It feels like kind of wasted potential, but the coolness of the skeleton trap itself does bump it up a little bit, which is why I put it this far up. But the usefulness is not really there, I don't think. It's mostly for the cool factor of there being a legitimate trap in the game. Then we have, what is this? I don't know what this is. We're just gonna skip it for now. Zombie, I'll be nice and put it in the top of passable, I suppose. This is the problem. The zombie is very basic, but it's also like kind of meant to be basic, so I can't really harp on it too hard. But it's just, it feels so outdated. You've seen it 1,000 times. Like, it's just one of those. It's like the skeleton, but even worse because this is a slow as hell melee thing. It's so easy to fight a zombie. Like, the Vindicator is such a better melee enemy because it's actually fast and it poses a threat. The zombie doesn't really pose a threat, even though it's supposed to be a hostile mob. There's really nothing here, but it's passable because it's so old and you probably don't need to rework it, just because it's supposed to be a very basic enemy that you find in the early game, right? Kind of the same with the skeleton, but the skeleton is at least slightly more interesting because it's ranged, so. Then we have Elder Guardian. I don't think Elder Guardians are all that great. Like, they're kind of cool because there's only like a limited number of them in each temple. There's only 3. You need them for How Did We Get Here? But other than that, not really all that cool. I was gonna say they flopped on this one. I'm not exactly sure how I would fix it or if it's fixable, but it's fine as it is. It's just not super interesting, really. Then we have, not Illusioners, what is this dude's name? The Vex creator guy, what's his name? Hold on, let me figure this out. I feel like an idiot, hold on. Minecraft mobs list. I feel like an idiot when I don't remember this guy's name. What the heck is his name? Also, what was the other mob that I didn't know? I can't find that one. An Evoker. God damn it. Why can't I remember this? I actually think Evokers are cool. They spawn Vexes, which, again, I've talked about Vexes. We're ranking the Vex as a separate mob, so I can't put this in perfect because it summons a mob that like is really horrendous, right? Like, it's all the way down here and passable. I'm gonna put it here in very good. Like, it's unique enough that I think it's fine, even though it's only 2 attacks and one of them summons these stupid Vexes. Then we have Ghast, which I think is, let's see, where do we put the Ghast? I mean, it's definitely passable because I like it. I would say it probably goes somewhere around here. The primary reason why I like it is because I think Ghast Tears and the whole regeneration potion stuff is pretty cool. Could Ghast Tears be more useful at some point? Maybe, but now you can also make end crystals with them, so they're not as bad as they have been. I think after the whole like resummoning the Ender Dragon and stuff, I think Ghast Tears became useful enough. Then we have the normal Guardian. Honestly, it just kind of goes next to the Elder Guardian. Like, yeah, the Elder Guardian does the mining fatigue thing, but like, honestly, they're pretty much the same thing. I'm not really the biggest fan of either, but I like that we have like some underwater laser stuff going on. I guess that's cool and unique enough to put them into good. Then we have the Husk. I think by the nature of how this tier list is looking, I feel like it just kind of goes next to the Stray, because it's also just a reskin of an old mob where they used what they had but made it slightly better. And I do think this is a vast improvement on the Zombie because of the whole hunger effect. It's still a slow-moving melee entity. It also doesn't burn in sunlight, which is pretty cool too, so. Then we have Glow Squid. I think the Glow Squid needs work. I think it goes here. It doesn't need as much work as the Silverfish, but it needs more work than the Ender Dragon. And the reason I say this is not because I don't think that the whole like glow signs and glowing and all that is completely useless, but I feel like you could have done more with it. Like, maybe you can, you know, glow up your dyed leather clothing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there could have been so much more done with this, like glowy wool blocks maybe, glowy a lot of things. They could have just glowed up everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, do more with your mobs, you know? They introduced this for 2 mechanics: signs and item frames. That's it. A new mob just to do 2 small things? They could have just made it like a loot thing or something, I don't know. Like, I'm glad I can farm it, but at the same time, the ink feels kind of useless, you know? It gets a needs work because at least it does something, and it functions the way it has to function. And it makes caves a bit more interesting, I suppose, as well. Alright, Magma Cube. It's the same as the Stray and the Husk, but it gets bonus points for being in in a different dimension, I suppose. It's closer to very good than ever just because of, you know, you need them with the whole frog farm and all that, so sure, I'll put them at the top of good. Next one we have the Drowned. Now, this is actually, I would say, an even better version of the zombie. I don't think it goes into very good, but I think it goes up next to the Magma Cube, and the reason is the Tridents. I think Tridents are cool, and I like all the enchantments that came with it. There aren't that many, there's like 3 new ones, but still, I like that. Yeah, overall, I think it's better than the Husk. Then we have Endermen. I actually think Endermen are pretty cool. I'll put Endermen like below frogs. They're a good addition to the game. I like the design of them, I like the XP farms you can do with them, and I like that you have like a unique way of aggroing them. They're not just aggressive by default. I like that you have to provoke them first. Then we have Endermite, again, like kinda useless next to Silverfish, I suppose. I think, I don't know, yeah, Endermite probably needs more work than Silverfish. Actually, they go down here. They have no point to them. Why are they there? It's kind of the same as the Phantom, but these don't drop anything either. They're just kind of there. I mean, Phantom membranes don't really matter, so it's kind of just the same as the Phantom, honestly. Then we have the Fox. I think foxes are hella cute. They are really cute. They actually get kind of a bonus for just being cute. They're really kind of useless in the long term, right? Like, they don't do much, but they brought life to a dead biome, which I thought was very nice. I guess we'll put them like above the cow. Cows brings life to plains biomes, whereas this just brings life to the taiga biomes. But they get bonus points for being cute, so they go above the cow. I think goats and goat horns are pretty cool. Not the best thing in the game, but I think I'll put them above the magma cubes. I think that the way you farm goat horns is interesting enough to warrant having a higher placement, even though goat horns are like sorta useless. You can just like kind of blow horns and that's it. There are 8 different ones, so that's fairly cool. I like the introduction of screaming goats. Screaming goats are kind of fun. It's fun to have like a rarer type of goat. Then we have hoglins. This is better than what I would initially have rated it because it's a food source in the nether. And I think having a legitimate food source in the nether is pretty good. Does it go into very good? I don't think so. We're gonna put it like, I think above Drowned is fair. I think the introduction of a food source in the nether is really good. Just because, what if you ran out of food on your adventure? You know, I like that there's a way to get food in the nether, but I also like the fact that they stuck to the whole, like, the nether is supposed to be very dangerous, so obviously the way you get food is also very dangerous. Horses just goes next to donkeys. We'll put them, I guess, above donkeys just because they're kind of faster. They're better, I would say. Even though donkeys can carry like a chest with them, I feel like horses are just the better of the two. Let's see, iron golems. Okay, so iron golems also suffer from the being very old problem of not really being updated or anything. But iron farms are so good that I don't think I can get away with putting it anywhere under very good. Iron golem goes into very good because of iron farms, how useful iron is as a resource. I think iron golems have to exist, and the mechanics with like how to spawn them and all that is very intricate. For one of the older mobs, there's a lot to them, which I think is nice, so I'll put it in very good. It might actually go a bit higher. I'll put it above Enderman. Then we have zombie villagers. I mean, they're more interesting than zombies for sure, but like not by a whole lot, I wouldn't say. I'd say they probably go like under the Guardians. It's not interesting enough to put it higher, but I like that you can cure them, and I like the mechanics of like zombifying villagers and then curing them for discounts. So it kind of just has to exist to make that mechanic possible, which is fine, right? So we'll put it there. Then we have llamas. Now, llamas feel more useless than horses. I think llamas need some work. The problem with llamas is that they're kind of just generic and kind of useless. I guess they go along with foxes in the sense that they like gave life to a biome that didn't really have any life in them, but they just didn't do enough with it. At least foxes look kind of cute. Llamas are just annoying. I guess I'll put it next to the dolphin because I don't think you can do much with the llamas, but at the same time, they're not really cute and they're just kind of annoying, so we'll put it there. Mushrooms. we kind of need to at least put it into good because of the rarity of them, right? It's again a reskin of another mob, but like slightly better. We'll put it here. It's better than the Stray and the Husk, just because first of all, it's a nice color. I think it's cool. I like that you can shear it and then it becomes a normal cow. And I like that you can get like mushroom stew. That's the whole suspicious stew mechanic with the flowers now. There's a lot of stuff going on with the mushroom now. And I can see brown mushroom is not on the list. So we're gonna have to rate the mushroom and the brown mushroom at the same time. Then we have the mule. I guess we'll put it above the donkey because it's slightly better, but still. Then we have the ocelot. I would say ocelots are cool. I'll put them next to foxes. They have the same vibe of like, they're just kind of a cute animal that's there. It is rarer than foxes, so maybe it deserves to be above, but they have the same kind of vibe, you know? Then we have pandas. Pandas are the same thing. They just make the jungle more interesting. Although they go below ocelots because ocelots are rarer, and I actually also like them more because they're like very much like an OG mob. The panda is pretty new, and I don't mind pandas. I like that they have different personalities. That's really cute. That's why I put them this high, even though they don't really do much. Then we have parrots. They have like this warning system that doesn't kind of work, where it can like detect sounds and make a sound based on the mob that's near it, which it's kind of cool, but I wish it was more fleshed out. Like, I don't know. I feel like there could have been done a bit more with that. We'll put it below the fox because I kind of like these 3 mobs more, but all these 4 mobs do the exact same thing. They spice up the biome they're in. And to be fair, parrots are colorful and very cool to see in the jungle. I just like the other 3 a bit more, so we'll put it like this. And I mean, the cow feels kind of out of place here, but like, it is kind of that same vibe though. Then we have the pig. It goes above chicken. The reason for this is that this only drops food. It doesn't drop anything else. I put it above the chicken because chickens might have 2 drops, but their food drop is worse, and the feathers are kind of useless, which is why it's here in the first place. The pig only drops food, so I'll just put it here. Then we have piglin brutes. I think piglin brutes are great. Very good, actually. They don't go above the warden, but they're very good. I like piglin brutes a lot. They basically made the bastion more challenging. They're strong enough that they are an actual challenge. And I like that, because that's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be a challenge. Then we have a regular piglin. I'll put them like above the guardians. Like, they give life to the nether. So it's kind of like these mobs over here, but instead of being cute, they're hostile. There's nothing particularly wrong with them. Then we have polar bears. I think they just kind of go next to the other generic mobs that spice up a biome. I guess we'll put it above the rest because it can be aggressive as well. So it's kind of cool that when it has a baby, it's then hostile. I'll give it a few bonus points for that, but other than that, there's not much here. Other than just another cute mob that spices up a biome. Pufferfish. If cod is here, I guess we'll put the pufferfish like here. It's a slightly more interesting type of fish, I suppose. Like, I don't really know. Then we have bunnies. This is the killer bunny, which doesn't exist, but we're just gonna pretend it's just a bunny because there isn't an actual bunny on the list. I would put the bunny below the parrot. And the reason for that is that I feel like there are just too many of them. Like, I know that's kind of the joke, but there's just so many rabbits all over the place. I'm not a big fan of that. And there are many different rabbits too, which I guess is fine, but not my thing really. Then we have salmon. They just kind of go next to cod. When you use them for food, they give slightly more hunger back, so I guess we'll put it above the cod. Then we have sheep. It goes above the cow. It probably goes up here-ish. And the reason is that wool farms are pretty good, right? Like at least this mob has a farm that you can do with it. Whereas the cow doesn't really have that, other than like you can kill cows for food, right? And you can like breed cows. But you can actually farm wool using sheep. And you can color them different colors so you can get all the colors of wool. I think that puts it a bit higher. It doesn't go into very good just because of you can have a farm with it. But it does make it more interesting than the cow, I would say. Then we have skeleton horse. We already kind of talked about how skeleton horses are kind of like not not really that great. I think the skeleton horse itself needs work, but it needs less work than all of these, because at least it's part of the trap, and the trap is pretty cool. Maybe I'll put it into passable, but I just feel like you could do more with this. Here's a fix, right? If you could breed these horses to make like faster skeleton horses, you would already have fixed them out. They would already be next to normal horses, maybe even above them, because of coolness factor, right? That's my like spur of the moment fix. You could probably figure out something else. Snow Golem. Poor Snow Golem. This guy just did not age well. I feel like this guy just got left by the wayside. Okay, here's the thing about Snow Golem, right? I'm gonna put it into passable because you have, like, snow farms, but that's all they do. It's not even that, like, I don't like them. I think snow farms are pretty cool and all, but, like, that's all they can do. I feel like there should be something more to them. They're designed to fight mobs for you, but, like, they're not good at it. I'm only putting it at passable because there's, like, farms, right? That's it. Then we have a normal spider, which, I mean, I guess it just kind of goes next to the skeleton. I'll put it above the skeleton because it's got the mobility aspect, but, like, someone should really combine these two, huh? Anyway, then we have Squid. I'll put Squid, like, next to horses. It's kind of like the ambience mobs, but, like, worse, I would say. Just because the black ink, like, ink doesn't do a whole lot. Like, yeah, you can color various things, and that's it, right? Like, I don't know. It's worse than the rest, but you don't need to fix the Squid. I think it's fine as is. Then we have the Strider, which is fine, I suppose. Like, again, put it above horses. I mean, it's like a slightly cooler horse, right? That's what that is. Then we have the baby zombie jockey or whatever, like the chicken one. It's not as cool as the spider jockey, but it does go up there for using things in a better way than they were, you know? And I like the rarity of this. This picture right here actually displays the rarest one of them. I remember watching a video about this. Anyway, I don't remember what video it was, but yeah, there's a video out there about like the rarest mob in Minecraft or something, and this was this, because it has like full diamond armor and all that, and like finding a zombie jockey is already kind of rare, so yeah. I like the rarity aspect of this mob. I don't think it's particularly great. It's definitely not a spider jockey. Then we have tropical fish. Okay, so tropical fish, I put them above all these basic mobs. I think that the fact that there are so many tropical fish and a lot of them are rare, very, very good. I like it a lot, actually. Then we have turtles. I would say turtles they probably go like above rabbits. And the primary reason is baby turtles are really cute. I'm not the biggest fan of turtles, generally speaking, because they don't do a whole lot. I mean, Potion of the Turtle Master is kind of cool, but that's about it. And the helmets, I guess the helmets do let you hold your breath underwater, so that's kind of cool. They give you water breathing, right? So I guess that's kind of cool. Villagers, alright. Listen, I'm gonna go on a rant about how stupid villagers are. There are so many stupid things about villagers. The first one is how broken they are. The trades are insanely broken, at least some of them, and they are like the dumbest mob ever. Why? Why are they so dumb? Like Mojang. They're basically supposed to be humans, right? But they're just like, they can't pathfind. They're also like oh my god. Working with villagers is the most annoying thing ever. I'm sorry, but working with villagers is the most annoying thing. Oh, they annoy me deeply. But I have to, villagers would be perfect if they were easier to transport and if they weren't as dumb as they are. Also, when I leave the breeder on, stop breeding 1 million babies. Like, you can tell how many babies are in the area. Just stop. Okay, rant over. But like, villagers annoy me, TLDR. Anyway, Wandering Trader needs work. It doesn't need a lot of work. I would put it here. Now, the Wandering Trader on paper is pretty cool, right? I like the idea of him, but what I feel like they missed the mark on is they should have given him like a rare thing that you can only get from him, or give him something that makes him more unique. Because for right now, what's the rarest you can get? Small drip leaves? Yeah, that's cool, but you could do so much more with this guy. He could give you like exotic goods. I think small drip leaves is a step in the right direction, and the fact that he has like dripstone and whatnot is pretty cool, but he needs to sell you exotic things. Like, he has tropical fish. That's a plus. Tropical fish, small drip leaf, and like, what else? Like, what else does he have that's like super great? I don't know. He needs to have these exotic items. Red sand is a good one too, and sand is fine. I like it when they have these items, but then they sell you random crap like flowers, saplings, dyes. We don't need those. Gunpowder. What's so rare about gunpowder? Creepers are everywhere. Literally, give him items that are rare, items that are particular to various biomes. That's why I think red sand, small drip leaves, and dripstone are all pretty good, and the tropical fish. These 5 items are good. Use those as examples and do more of that. Add more of those types of items to his list, and then we're talking. Witches are actually a pretty good enemy. I'll put them at the top of good. I like that we have an enemy that uses potions. I think that's good. I think it's nice to have that in the game, and it's a fairly well designed one. There's a few complaints I have about it, like why does the splash potion of poison last forever? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why do I have to be poisoned for 30 seconds by this thing? I would say maybe nerf that a bit. Give her like a special poison potion maybe. I don't know. Like for now she's just throwing the default ones. Something like that. You know, I like that she drinks fire resistance. I like that she can heal herself. I like that she has like the slowness, the poison, the harming. That's all fine. It's just that the poison lasts way too long, and that like keeps it from being very good. Then we have wither skeletons, and god damn it, I am sick of fighting wither skeletons, but the skull mechanic is pretty cool. We talked about how building the wither is pretty cool and all that, so I probably can't put it way too low. I'll put it like next to the drowned, but I'll put it below the drowned because I've killed way too many of these and I'm sick of them. You could argue putting it above the drowned, but yeah, no, I'm putting it here because this is my list. If you want to argue, please do in the comments, but yeah, no, we're putting it here for now. Then we have the wolf. I think the wolf needs work. The reason the wolf needs work is very simple. It's supposed to help you fight mobs, but it's just not good enough at it. It's not tanky enough. It does what it has to do, but it does it really horribly. I feel like you just kind of need to buff this to you and make it worth using wolves, I guess. Then we have a Soglin, which is fine. It's kind of cool that this mob changes when it goes through the portal, so we'll put it above here. And then we have the zombified piglin, which is just a, well, zombie piglin in disguise, right? Like, that's what it is. When you put a piglin through the portal, you get this instead. I like that they kept it. I'll put it up here, just because as a thank you for actually keeping this mob in the game and not just deleting it, because I feel like they could have very easily done that. But yeah, there we have it. We have made the tier list. So 3 mobs in total made it into perfect, and 3 mobs made it into bad. Yeah, like generally speaking, the mobs in Minecraft are pretty good, right? That's what we can really see here. It's like, in my opinion, generally speaking, the mobs are good. They're not, you know, amazing or anything. A lot of them aren't amazing, but they're good. So yeah. Thank you for watching the tier list. I will see y'all later.